S-P-E-A-K. Everybody wanna say, speak up. S-P-E-A-K. Speak up.
Welcome to the Speak Up English channel. Are you ready to embark on an exciting journey of language learning? At Speak Up, we're passionate about helping you improve your English listening skills. Our lessons are packed with engaging content, including short talks, conversations, reports, news, and captivating short stories. So grab your headphones, sit back, and let's dive into the world of English together. Remember, every word you listen to brings you one step closer to fluency. Let's make this learning adventure fun and rewarding. Subscribe now and join our community at the Speak Up English channel. Let's learn, laugh, and grow together. Subscribe to Speak Up.
Health technology. The AI doctor will see you, eventually. Artificial intelligence holds huge promise in healthcare, but it also faces massive barriers.
Better diagnoses, personalised support for patients, faster drug discovery, greater efficiency. Artificial intelligence, AI, is generating excitement and hyperbole everywhere, but in the field of healthcare, it has the potential to be transformational. In Europe, analysts predict that deploying AI could save hundreds of thousands of lives each year. In America, they say it could also save money, shaving $200 billion to $360 billion from overall annual medical spending, now $4.5 trillion a year, or 17% of GDP. From smart stethoscopes and robot surgeons to the analysis of large data sets or the ability to chat to a medical AI with a human face, opportunities abound. There is already evidence that AI systems can enhance diagnostic accuracy and disease tracking, improve the prediction of patients' outcomes, and suggest better treatments. It can also boost efficiency in hospitals and surgeries by taking on tasks such as medical transcription and monitoring patients, and by streamlining administration. It may already be speeding the time it takes for new drugs to reach clinical trials. New tools, including generative AI, could supercharge these abilities. Yet, as our Technology Quarterly this week shows, although AI has been used in healthcare for many years, integration has been slow and the results have often been mediocre. There are good and bad reasons for this. The good reasons are that healthcare demands high evidentiary barriers when introducing new tools to protect patient safety. The bad reasons involve data, regulation, and incentives. Overcoming them could hold lessons for AI in other fields. AI systems learn by processing huge volumes of data, something healthcare providers have in abundance. But health data is highly fragmented. Strict rules control its use. Governments recognise that patients want their medical privacy protected, but patients also want better and more personalised care. Each year, roughly 800,000 Americans suffer from poor medical decision-making. Improving accuracy and reducing bias in AI tools requires them to be trained on large data sets that reflect patients' full diversity. Finding secure ways to allow health data to move more freely would help, but it could benefit patients too. They should be given the right to access their own records in a portable, digital format. Consumer health firms are already making use of data from wearables with varying success. Portable patients' records would let people make fuller use of their data and take more responsibility for their health. Another problem is managing and regulating these innovations. In many countries, the governance of AI in health, as in other areas, is struggling to keep up with the rapid pace of innovation. Regulatory authorities may be slow to approve new AI tools or may lack capacity and expertise. Governments need to equip regulators to assess new AI tools. They also need to fill regulatory gaps in the surveillance of adverse events and in the continuous monitoring of algorithms to ensure they remain accurate, safe, effective, and transparent. That will be hard. One solution would be for countries to work together to learn from each other and create minimum global standards. A less complex international regulatory system would also help create a market in which small companies can innovate. Poorer countries with less developed health infrastructure have much to gain from introducing new tools, such as an AI-powered portable ultrasound device for obstetrics. Because the alternative to an AI tool is often no treatment at all, they may even be able to leapfrog the entrenched health systems of rich countries, though a lack of data, connectivity and computing power will get in the way. A final problem involves institutions and incentives. AI promises to cut medical costs by assisting or replacing workers, improving productivity, reducing errors and flattening or reducing spending, all while improving care. That is desperately needed. The world could lack 10 million healthcare workers by 2030, around 15% of today's workforce. And administration accounted for about 30% of America's excess healthcare costs compared with other countries in 2022. Yet saving money using innovation is tricky. Health systems are set up to use it to improve care, not cut costs. New technology may account for as much as half of the annual growth in health spending. Layering on new systems will increase costs and complexity. But redesigning processes to make efficient use of AI is likely to be resisted by patients and medics. Though AI may be able to triage them over the phone or provide routine results, patients may demand to be seen in person. Worse, many health systems, such as America's, are set up to reward the volume of work. They have little reason to adopt technologies that cut the number of visits, tests or procedures. And even publicly run healthcare systems may lack incentives to adopt technologies that reduce costs rather than improve outcomes, perhaps because saving money may lead to a smaller budget next year. Unless governments can change these incentives so that AI combines better treatment with new efficiencies, innovation will increase costs. Accordingly, governments and health authorities will need to fund schemes dedicated to testing and deploying new AI technologies. Countries including America, Britain and Canada are pointing the way. Much of the burden for boosting AI in healthcare falls on governments and regulators. However, companies have a part to play too. Insurers have already used AI tools to deny care unfairly. Firms have missold or overstated the abilities of health AI. Algorithms have made mistakes. Firms have a duty to ensure that their products are safe, reliable and accountable, and that humans, however flawed, remain in control. These obstacles are formidable, but the potential benefits of using AI in healthcare are so vast that the case for overcoming them should be obvious. And if AI can be made to work in medicine, it could provide a prescription for the adoption of the technology in other fields.
Listen carefully. You will hear a conversation between a student looking for a host family and a housing advisor.
Good morning. How can I help you?
Good morning. I understand you help fix up students with host families.
That's right. Are you interested in...
Yes.
Well, please sit down and I'll just take a few details.
Thank you.
Right. Now, what name is it?
Jenny Chan.
Can you spell that, please?
Yes. JENNYCHAN.
Right. And what is your present address?
Seaview Guest House, 14 Hill Road.
Okay. And do you know the phone number there?
Yes, I have it here. 2237676. But I'm only there after about 7 p.m.
So when would be the best time to catch you?
I suppose between 9 and, let me see, past, before I leave for the college.
Great. And can I ask you your age?
I've just had my 19th birthday.
And how long would you want to stay with the host family?
I'm planning on staying a year, but at the moment I'm definitely here for 4 months only. I have to get an extension to my permit.
You're working on it? Fine. And what will be your occupation while you're in the UK?
Studying English?
And what would you say your level of English is?
Good, I think. I'd like to say advanced, but my written work is below the level of my spoken, so I suppose it's intermediate.
Certainly your spoken English is advanced. Anyway, which area do you think you would prefer?
Well, I'm studying right in the centre, but I'd really like to live in the northwest.
That shouldn't be a great problem. We usually have lots of families up there. And do you have any particular requirements for diet?
Well, I'm nearly a vegetarian. Not quite.
Shall I say you are? It's probably easier that way.
That would be best.
Anything about your actual room?
I would prefer my own facilities. En suite, is that right? And also, if it's possible, a TV. And I'd also like the house to have a real garden, rather than just a yard. Somewhere I could sit and be peaceful.
Is that all?
Well, I'm really serious about improving my English, so I'd prefer to be the only guest, if that's possible.
No other guests. Yes, you get more practice that way. Anyway, obviously, all this is partly dependent on how much you're willing to pay. What did you have in mind?
I was thinking in terms of about 60 to 80 pounds a week, but I'd go up to 100 if it was something special.
Well, I don't think we'd have any problems finding something for you.
Oh, good.
And when would you want it for?
I'd like to move in approximately 2 weeks.
Let me see, it's the 10th today. So if we go for the Monday, it's the 23rd of March.
Yes.
Right. Good. And if I could ask one last question.
Listen carefully.
Next, to the smells of Britain.
Of all the 5 senses, the sense of smell is the most important in evoking memories. A holiday at the beach, the perfume of someone whose face is long forgotten, the wonderful aromas of Grandma's kitchen. Older generations tend to have a much richer memory bank of smells, simply because they can recall what life smelled like long before the days of sterile packaging and plastic wrap. Frank Wright's company, Dale Air, which is based in Kirkham near Blackpool, produces aromas for every conceivable occasion. Vomit, to portray what life was like on long sea voyages in the days of sail. The hint of coconut to remind you of foreign holidays, or the sweat of a football changing room. Dale Air's customers include the large food stores, where the smell of freshly cooked bread or newly ground coffee fill the air. All of it fake.
We've lost smells because the packaging to keep everything fresh for as long as they can. So that is being packaged so you don't get the smell. You go into a sweet shop now, unless they sell sweets by the quarter, then you don't get the smell. It's not there anymore. What I believe it does best is actually put that smell back in that they've taken out. But of course they want it to sell as well. But remember that going back all those years when people could actually smell the chocolate and the other things, that used to sell anyway. So all we're doing really is putting that smell back in.
Archaeologists digging on the site of an old sweet factory in York unearthed remains of 10th century Viking age buildings where damp conditions had helped preserve everyday Viking items such as wood, leather, cloth, bugs, and even a Viking toilet and its contents. When they attempted to recreate a village as a tourist venue, they turned to Frank Knight to provide the smells that would bring it to life.
The Jorvik was our first customer for these what we call themed aromas, and they saw that not only did they want to show what life was like in Britain at that time when the Vikings invaded and their settlements, they wanted to put not only the sight and the sound but the smell, because they knew that smells were important, because it has realism. You know, you can't have realism without all five senses using them. Now we have customers like the Imperial War Museum, Natural History Museum. We've got a lot of customers now that's realising that this sense of smell is important to their displays.
The smell of a Viking toilet wouldn't be that much different from one today. But how do you go about producing the stench of the breath of something that last walked the earth millions of years ago? Or the wrappings of an Egyptian mummy that had lain unmoved for thousands of years?
The dinosaur, when we were approached by the Natural History Museum, we asked to speak to the paleontologists because we didn't have a clue. But they knew. They told me certain things. The teeth were spread apart and they would have rotten meat in them, stuck in them. They would have sores, syphilis, and from fighting, because obviously they used to fight for their food, so they would get hurt as well. And they would have open wounds, which smelled.
Listen carefully. You will hear a speech by an official at a meeting of a local football club at the start of a new football season.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to the soccer club meeting. It's good to see so many parents and children here tonight, and I know you're looking forward to a great football season. Now, I'd like to take a few minutes to tell you about some changes to the soccer club for the coming season. Now, this season, we'll be playing all our matches for both the junior and senior competitions at Kings Park, instead of Royal Park, which was used last season. Now, for meetings, we're going to use the clubhouse in Kings Park, and the next meeting will be held in the clubhouse on the 2nd of July. As usual, we hope to begin the season with a picnic next Saturday at the clubhouse. Please try and come to the picnic, as it's always good fun. The last week of the season, we usually have a dinner and presentation of prizes to the players, and more information about this will be given to you later in the season. This season, we have more teams than ever. We hope to have 10 teams instead of 5 in the junior competition, and they'll play on Saturday mornings beginning at 8:30 a.m. Training sessions will be held in Kings Park on Wednesday afternoons for the juniors, and they will be wearing red shirts again this year. In the senior competition, there'll be 4 teams, same as last year, and their games will be played on Saturday afternoons starting at 2:30 it will be at a 2 o'clock start, and the training session for seniors is planned for Sunday afternoons. Now, I'd like to introduce you to the new committee for the soccer club for this season. Firstly, let me welcome Robert Young, the new president, who will manage the meetings for the next 2 years. Robert's son has been playing football with the club for over 5 years now, and many thanks to Robert for taking on the job of president. Next, we have Gina Costello. She's the treasurer, and she'll collect the fees from you for the season. Please try and give Gina your fees as early as possible in the season, as the club needs the money to buy some new equipment. Then there's David West, who's volunteered to be the club secretary, and one of the many jobs he'll have is to send out newsletters to you regularly. If you have any information that may be useful, please let David know so that it can be included in these newsletters. Also, I'd like to introduce you to Jason Dokic, who is the head coach. For all the new members here tonight, this is the 3rd year that Jason has been with us as head coach, and we're very lucky to have such an experienced coach and former player at our club. He will continue to supervise the teams at training sessions and on match days. Now, before we finish and have some refreshments, does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask the new committee?
Listen carefully.
Although played quite well in Florida and Latin America, Jai-Alai is not an American game. This handball-type game originated in the Basque region of Spain. Jai-Alai is one of the fastest-moving ball games. In Florida, it is legal to place bets on the players, somewhat similar to betting in horse racing. Bets are placed on a win, place, show basis, that is, first, second, and third. Sports experts agree that Jai-Alai requires more skill, speed, endurance, and nerve than any other game.
Listen carefully.
How long have you been out of the country, miss? Where did you go?
I spent 3 weeks in Switzerland and 1 week in Greece.
Do you have any plants, meat, or alcoholic beverages to declare?
I have only 2 bottles of rum.
How much did you spend on your purchases while you were away?
About $100.
Please open this small suitcase for me. Okay, give this card to the official at the red desk.
Listen carefully.
Alexander Graham Bell was born in Edinburgh, Scotland, in the 19th century, and later came to the United States. Several members of his family did a great deal to encourage him in the field of science. His father was most instrumental by supervising his work with the deaf. While he dealt with the deaf and investigated the science of acoustics, his studies eventually led to invention of the multiple telegraph and his greatest invention, the telephone. The last quarter century of his life was dedicated to advances in aviation.
Who wrote that exciting spy adventure novel, Topaz?
That was Leon Uris.
Didn't he also write those famous stories about bullfighting in Pamplona, Spain?
No, that was Ernest Hemingway.
Listen carefully.
Today, class, we're going to continue our discussion of different ways to analyze our personalities. We will look at the relationship between colors and personality. First, let's take a look at the 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. According to studies carried out in North America, people who prefer the color red usually have strong personalities. They like expressing their opinions. They insist on saying what they think and feel, even if it is sometimes negative. They're confident people who enjoy meeting others and being in social situations. In contrast to the reds, people who choose blue are generally quiet and gentle. They don't like showing strong emotions. Blues feel they should control what they say and do very carefully. They like spending time by themselves, and they like analyzing themselves. Still different are the people who prefer yellow. They are normally cheerful, friendly people who prefer looking at the positive side of things. They don't like thinking about problems or serious subjects very much. Often yellows prefer hiding strong emotions like fear or anger. The analysis of colors is just another system that people have created to understand personalities. We will discuss other ways to analyze personality traits in our next class.